Hey guys, Brian Fuga Gaming and welcome back to Kenneth Game. Today, we're looking at the HONOR X7c, a device coming in around 8,999 pesos. It's positioned as an affordable option, but it has some intriguing specs on paper. So, we're here to see how it performs in real-world gaming. Let's see if this budget device can handle some popular games and, of course, check out its overall performance. Alright, let's get into the basics of what's powering the HONOR X7c. Starting with the display, we have a 6.77-inch HD plus TFT LCD panel. Now, LCD might sound like a step back from OLED, but for what it's priced at, this display is surprisingly capable. It's got a 120Hz refresh rate, which isn't something you often see in this budget range. And it really does make a difference, especially for gaming. Swiping through menus feels fluid, and even when we're in game, the extra smoothness is noticeable. But it's not just the display that's pulling weight here. Under the hood, we're looking at a Qualcomm Snapdragon 685 paired with either 6GB of RAM or 8GB of RAM, which gives it enough power to handle most games we threw at it. And that's where this phone surprised us. With this processor and price point, you wouldn't expect it to handle some of the more demanding games, but the X7c actually managed to impress us. We'll go into the specific games in a minute, but here's a quick spoiler. The gaming performance of this device exceeded our expectations. The benchmarks reflect that capability as well, with scores of 310,613 on Antutu and 470 in single-core and 1,463 in multi-core on Geekbench 6. This number suggests it's a reliable budget option. But our actual gameplay testing confirmed that this phone can really hold its own. Before we get into each game, let's talk about how we're measuring performance. For this review, we focus on average FPS and average temperature. The reason for using these metrics is that average FPS provides a realistic picture of how stable the frame rate is over an extended period. This helps reveal if the device can handle sustained gameplay without dips in performance. Meanwhile, temperature is crucial for budget devices, as they tend to lack advanced cooling systems. High temperatures can cause throttling and affect gameplay. So, to get a real sense of how the HONOR X7c performs, we ran each game for 30 minutes, measuring both average FPS and temperature. First up, Call of Duty Mobile. We got an average of 59.8 FPS, which is close to the max frame rate the game allows on this device. The phone's temperature stayed around 31.5 degrees Celsius, which is quite low, especially for an affordable phone like this. Gameplay was smooth with minimal frame drops, even in intense firefights. Overall, COD Mobile felt great on this phone. Definitely a good experience for a budget device. Moving on to Asphalt Unite, a game that pushes the graphics pretty hard with detailed textures and high-speed action. Here, we averaged 55.7 FPS, and the temperature held steady at 31.9 degrees Celsius. While it's a little lower in FPS compared to COD Mobile, it's still solid, and most importantly, it was consistent. No major stutters or noticeable frame drops, so it's a reliable choice for those who enjoy racing games. Asphalt looks good on the screen despite being an LCD. Next, Genshin Impact. This one's known for being tough on budget devices. We saw an average FPS around 40. With a temperature at 33.3 degrees Celsius, it's not as high as the other games. But for Genshin Impact, this is actually pretty decent. That said, it stayed consistent, and the device didn't overheat, which is a big plus for a phone in this price range. Then, we have Honkai Star Rail, another challenging game for budget phones. The X7c averaged around 28.9 FPS, with the temperature just a touch lower at 31.6 degrees Celsius. Now, Honkai Star Rail didn't run as smoothly as the other games, and this frame rate is definitely on the lower end. However, this phone's heat management was impressive. Even though the frame rate could be higher, it's still playable, just not a super smooth experience. Finally, let's talk about Mobile Legends, which performed really well here. We got an average of 59.8 FPS at 31.9 degrees Celsius, matching the max frame rate for this game. This experience was buttery smooth, with excellent touch response, and no lag or stuttering at all. If you're into MOBAs, this device is great for games like Mobile Legends. The HONOR X7c has very good touch response for its price point. During gameplay, it felt responsive, especially in fast-paced games like Mobile Legends and COD Mobile. It's not on par with higher-end models, but for a budget phone, the responsiveness was above average, which makes it great for gaming. Now, heat management is a highlight of this device. Even after 30 minutes of gameplay per session, the X7c stayed surprisingly cool, usually around 31 to 33 degrees Celsius only. This level of heat management is impressive at this price, and it's something that makes the HONOR X7c stand out. Usually, with budget phones, heat buildup can be a big issue, leading to throttling and uncomfortable use. But the X7c handles this very well, which means you can game for longer sessions without it getting hot. Battery life is also solid with a 6000 mAh capacity, so it'll easily last through longer gaming sessions. This device does lack 5G, which might be a downside for some users, but for gaming on Wi-Fi, that won't be an issue. As mentioned earlier, the display is an LCD, so colors and contrast don't match what you'd see on OLED panels. However, the resolution and refresh rate do well enough to keep things smooth. While it may not be the most vibrant screen out there, it's functional and doesn't detract too much from the experience. So, can the HONOR X7c game? Absolutely. It performs surprisingly well across a range of games with a stable FPS, good heat management, and consistent performance. For only 8,999 pesos, it's an easy recommendation for budget gamers looking for a reliable device. Sure, the numbers on paper aren't what you'd want for gaming, but the positives here outweigh those limitations. And that's it! What phone would you like us to do a gaming review next? Comment your suggestion down below, and if you love this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. This has been Brian, and see you again on the next one.